Okay, so now we're going to look at horizontal analysis, and basically that's from year to year. Okay, so in the previous couple of sections, we were doing vertical analysis, right? Comparing it to net sales or assets. One item compared to another item in the column. Now going horizontal, we're going to compare year to year. Now we did some analysis year to year with those percentages, but this is going to be looking at numbers from year to year and amount of increase versus decrease. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the current year minus the prior year, and that should give us an increase or a decrease. Okay, and then we're going to take that increase or the decrease, whatever that is, and we're going to divide it by the prior year. And that's going to give us a percentage, okay? A percent that, again, we can use for comparison, okay? And we can use that number now as a comparison to other companies and our competitors and things like that. Okay, so basically they've done some of this for us. We're just doing a couple of numbers, okay? So again, current minus prior. So current minus prior, and I'm going to, like I said, go ahead and give you these numbers. 280, 72. We'll go ahead and do all of this. Current minus prior, 19,190, 93, and current minus prior. And again, we could go this way too, right? But now we're going to end up with a negative number. So it's going to be 1910, 21, but we're going to use parentheses to show it's a negative number. Okay? Alright, so then we've got those real quick before we move on. We'll just do this section. So now we've got the increase or the decrease, and now we're going to divide it by the prior year here. So 17280 divided by, or 0.72 divided by 642,189.81, that is going to be 2.7%. Again, we want one decimal. You've got to round it to that one decimal, whatever that might be. 19190.93 divided by 301,84328 is 6.4. Okay, and then here we've got a negative number divided by 340, and we're going to figure that out, but it'll still be a negative number, so it's going to be 0.6 in parentheses. Okay, so that would be our gross profit actually decreased. All right, so our sales increased, our cost of goods increased, but our cost of goods increased by a whole lot more than our sales did, right? So that's how we ended up with less gross profit, because our cost of our merchandise increased by a lot. Okay? And again, hopefully you can see that there's some value in being able to analyze that, right? All right, advertising expense, current minus prior, 1831, 21, and then divide those two, should give you 7.9. We'll come down here, current minus prior. Okay, that's going to give us a negative number, 299512 in parentheses. Okay, so then back when we divide that out again, that'll give us 3.1 in parentheses as a negative. Okay, So in this case, salary expense decreased by 3.1%. So, you know, that could be something that's good, right? Notice that we've got a couple of different things in here that are decreasing, that are expenses. That can be good. Just because it's a negative doesn't mean that it's bad, right? Especially if it's expenses. And then you had a lot of things increase in your expenses. So that's something you got to watch out for. Look, this was a big jump, right? Okay, uncollectible account expense, subtracting those out, 4289. $92. And that's a 35.2 increase. Okay. Now that's a big jump. That's a big increase, and that's uncollectibles, right? So you may have to sit down and think, okay, we got to put a little task force together to figure out why all of a sudden did our uncollectibles increase so much? Why aren't these people paying us? Do we need to be sending them different notices? Do we need to be calling them up more often, right? So when you start looking at this and you start analyzing it, you have to start asking questions and coming up with solutions to those questions or those issues. You know, maybe up here, maybe you can't help the cost of merchandise increasing because, you know, in our case right now, inflation, everything's going up in price. Well, maybe we need to increase our price. Maybe we need to increase our marketing because we need to increase our sales. So maybe it's not this number that needs to decrease, maybe it's this number that needs to increase. Okay? So that's the kind of the fun part of working with the numbers and running the numbers and analyzing the numbers, is coming up with what all the what ifs might be. And what happens if you increase this and what happens if you decrease that. Okay? Alright, so we're going to continue on. Let's see. Income from operations. Got another negative number, 6385 and 10 cents. Okay, so that's a 4.4 decrease. So again, you know, because our profit decreased, our total operating expenses overall increased a little bit, right? But because our gross profit didn't increase as much, we're still going to have that negative there. Okay, and I think that's it for that. So again, just kind of remember, you know, the parentheses mean negative, but the negative doesn't always mean bad. It can mean good. And you know, just because something got too high doesn't mean that it needs to be decreased. Maybe something else around it needs to be increased, like something up here, right? Maybe you have to do some more investigating as to why our uncollectibles went up so much. You know, maybe we need to tighten up our policies on our customers paying us back and so forth. Okay, so not too intense on this one. Just again, running a few numbers and then just thinking about a lot of what ifs. What if we did this? What if we did this? How would that change the numbers? And being able to explain that to somebody else, right? That's the part of an accountant's job, is being able to take the numbers and explain it to somebody to help the business make decisions.